This is the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mosen.
Great to be back here again, folks. It is Monday, and it's great to have you here with me, Pat Ryan. How are you today?
I'm very good. You know why? Because the calendar says March.
I know.
And you know what that means. Despite the fact that Old Man Winter still is around here some, we know spring happens in March. So we are hardier for what we've been through here this past winter, but we're ready. You know, the Bible says this too will pass, and it will pass. And,
yes.
Yeah, and you know, the good thing about all this snow, the Farmer's Almanac says it's the poor man's fertilizer. So we should have a really lush, beautiful, green, flowery spring and summer.
Well, it's also a great way to bring family members together.
Yeah, yes.
There's no more social outings with the weather being a little, off. But, it is a part of life, just like the peaks and valleys of finance. We have our moments. Life is challenging, and yet it's a celebration in itself. So the celebration, I have to say, Pat, is I've been receiving letters from this wonderful, wonderful listener of ours, this lady who's in her 90s. And they're just the most beautiful letters. They're typewritten, and they are just asking the question about growing your portfolio and, options. And this is what I love about our spirit here at Salem, that, we are always looking for answers and asking questions, and it's never too late to learn, to grow. And so it has been really delightful and a real joy. I don't remember the last time I received a letter. I have to say, so it really brought a lot of joy to my heart.
And you just made me think about, my small group that I do with my church on Wednesday nights, and we're doing this great book, and it's great. It's a great enhancement to my spiritual life, an extension, from my regular Sunday services and my own daily devotions, to get together once a week with other folks. But one of the things that we discussed last night is, about you've heard the expression, enjoy the journey and all of that. And one of the things that we went over last night spiritually was, that really, really our entire life is a journey, because our destination is heaven. Yes. So, so we are never at one place forever, and God knows where we're at, and He'll bring us through it, and He always does. And, and He brings us to greener pastures, and we're always better for what we have just gone through, because we're stronger and we have more skills and more experience. And isn't that the same? I mean, you can apply that in every area of your life, but when you say finances, and as we started this conversation, Sarah, we are never stuck in a place forever, a dark place, whether it be with our finances or our spiritual life. There's always something on the other side of it that we can always take and be glad that we came through it. And when it comes to finances, Sarah, you well know about people that feel like they're in a dark place because their debt to income ratio they think is too high, or, their credit rating. But for you, being a wholesale lender, it's often you can say yes when local banks have said no, so you don't have to stay in a stuck place forever, right?
You are never stuck when it comes to finances with us, because we do have 50 wholesale lenders, and so there are options. And that's what life's about, options. If there is a no, that's only temporary. It's a question of perhaps it wasn't the right fit, perhaps it wasn't the right bank, perhaps the guidelines were different. For us, we have a variety of wholesale lenders who have the lowest interest rates and different programs, because everybody has different needs. And some folks may be looking at a situation where they may have a little bit more debt, and so they were denied by a local bank because their guidelines say that, well, you can only have 36% of your income going towards debt, like credit cards, mortgage. Well, ours is unlimited. It can go up to 50%, sometimes 60%. And so all it takes is a conversation, and a direct conversation with me. If you wish, you can always call me at 1-800-662-9550 and ask for Sarah. We get a ton of referrals because we've been doing this for so many years, and we have a track record. I always say to folks, if you want to really look into a person's history, just look at who and what they've done in their past, as well as what we have, thanks to you, Pat, as well, on the Salem websites, we have our testimonials. These are interviews that we've done. I've had our listeners come into the studio and chat about the refinancing options and the purchases that we've done for residential and commercial properties. But they're just real stories. We are sharing stories of our history together. And finances come across as dry. I've had listeners who say, well, it's kind of dry, but, Pat and you bring, some life into it, because it is about life and life changing in itself, because families grow. I just had a really dear friend of mine who I've known for 10 years. She contacted me and she goes, I need your help. My daughter's getting married. They're looking for a home. And I thought of you because you worked with us. And so I was really happy to see that. Those are the stories that I love sharing, because there is a history behind having someone buy their first home. And certainly the best part of that history of not only buying or refinancing is to have the lowest interest rate, to have a 3% rate or a 4% rate, so you don't have to keep going back to the table and refinancing over and over again so that you can have the lowest payment option. And today's market, 60-year lows. This is a really great time to refinance or even purchase a home or a vacation property.
So just again, I just want to make sure that our family of listeners know that you may have been told no, maybe even more than once, by a local credit union or a local bank, and they're fine institutions. Sarah, I'll say it before you, but the fact that Sarah works with wholesale lenders, 50 different ones, by the way, across the country, and, there's a reason why 50 different lenders like to be partnered up with the fine folks at Mosen Mortgage, and there's a reason why we here, Salem, Boston, are partnered up with Sarah and her brother and the rest of the fine folks there at Mosen for going on 8 years. And the reason that you're in the Florida market, because you are folks that are first and foremost credible, reputable, know your stuff, and keep your finger on the pulse of all things. And you can make things happen on the wholesale side of things that retail can't, just as you just explained. And even if somebody contacts you and you look at their credit rating and you say, you got to get it a little better so that we can make this happen, you could advise them how to make it better so you can still give them a plan and still give them that opportunity. Right, Sarah?
Right. There's always room to grow, and that's what I love about life. There's always a change, a shift, and finances work that way. We have had numerous conversations where we've helped repair and rebuild a person's credit score and not have them pay money out of pocket. It's not that difficult. I can literally tell you very easily what it will take. It takes a few minutes of your time. I'm accessible. I have been evenings, mornings, weekends. And certainly one of the big parts of the picture here is that we really believe in life being circular. So in the sense that you may be in a place where you've retired and you don't want a mortgage payment and you want to keep the house and then be able to will it to a family member or a relative. Well, if you're 62 years of age, we have a government-sponsored program. It's easy, it's safe, it's secure. You get interviewed by the government agency. If you like the program, you get a mortgage-free home. You can get cash out, even if you've had multiple lates on the mortgage or your debt-to-income ratio is too high. But simply ask the question. That's what I encourage everyone to do. Just ask. And then you'll never know unless you ask what is possible.
And it's a free phone call, and that it is answered live 24/7. And the fine folks at Mosen are there and available to call you back at whatever time you want them to call you back. If you call at 2 o'clock in the morning, they are folks of their word. The number there is 1-800-662-9550. Just ask the question. Sarah, it's part of you. What you feel is your ministry. You love talking to people and answering questions. And, people come to you all the time and will say, well, I met somebody in the supermarket that told me about this plan. And somebody else, a good friend or a good neighbor, told me that you can get interest rate at as low as this. And, there's a lot of people out there giving advice, but they're not the experts. And they may be people that we all love. But, take that info and give Sarah a call and find out, what is the story behind this teaser rate that you just heard on the television? Or what is the story behind, this new program that, Sarah, you keep talking about for 62? And, there's just some remarkable programs out there. And when we need to know the accurate information, we need to go to the experts. And, well, Marita's saying, but you better do that tomorrow because we're already winding down for today, Monday. But we'll come back and talk about it more. Sarah and I know it's our favorite time of the day, sipping a cup of coffee and just talking over finances. But let me give you number one more time, Sarah, 1-800-662-9550.
Stay well, folks.
This has been the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.